Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Thursday, and all of today's guests, including Ed Jovanovski, Jovo, standing by, brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Giants would like to thank their fans for their support this season at the LEC. Can't wait to welcome them back for 2023-2024. Get your season tickets for next year now at vancouvergiants.com/season tickets. Game one of the NHL's Eastern Conference Final tonight. Florida Panthers at Carolina. We thought it was a perfect time to get Ed Jovanovski on the show. Florida Panthers analyst, former Panther, former Canuck. Ed, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Hey, guys. Donnie, long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Looking good.
You haven't aged one bit, buddy.
Oh, thanks. You're the first person to say that in the last 10 years. Hey, Joe, what are you up to these days for people who don't know, other than doing analysis?
That's pretty much right now. I think, during the season, it's obviously nice having that structure. We all know as players sometimes, coming out of the game, you're just trying to kind of find yourself and see where you're kind of going to find your niche a little bit. So it took a couple years to kind of get back with the team. Covered them, all year for the last handful of years. So it's been fun, enjoy doing what I'm doing. And especially right now, obviously with the team, being in these Eastern Conference Finals, not covering them right now because of national TV, but certainly fun to continue watching them play.
Ed, they're an 8 seed. You look at the overall standings, they're actually 17th overall during the regular season. But here they are winning, knocking off Boston, knocking off Toronto in the Eastern Final. How do you explain that?
Well, it's quite remarkable kind of what they've done. And you look at this season, one of the areas where, quite a bit of concern is how inconsistent this group was. And if you look at their core of guys, you're kind of shaking your head going, how is this possible? The goaltending obviously wasn't great throughout the year. Come January time, we all know, coach kind of went berserk on the bench. Keith Tkachuk called him out. And ever since then, they kind of found their game again. And Coach Maurice's been talking from the get-go, about just changing their style of play to be conducive for playoff time. And we were all kind of waiting around to kind of see when that was going to, come to fruition for them. But slowly and surely it did. Found themselves kind of getting into the playoffs by a point. So are they an 8 seed? I don't think if you look at their group, they're an 8 seed. They're better than an 8 seed team. But running up against Boston was obviously a tall task. Being down 3 games to 1. Listen, I mean, they had to worry about game 5 in that situation. Bobrovsky comes in such a crazy moment, pressure moment for him, and rattles off 3 in a row, finding a way to get through Boston and then taking care of Toronto in 5. How do you explain it? I think you get hot at the right time. You feel good about your game. You get excellent goaltending. You get timely goals. And you ride the wave. Kind of similar kind of what we did in 96 back here in Florida. This team was much more talented than the group that we had. But, winning is contagious. When you get on that roll, you feel like you can't lose. And you just kind of do the little things that contribute to big W's.
What do you like about Matthew Tkachuk's game? You mentioned him there.
Everything. Coming into a new situation, we never know kind of what to expect, especially a blockbuster trade like that. But right from the get-go, he came in. He's been as consistent as possible, obviously getting over 100 points and playing a certain way. Likes to mix it up, gets to the tough areas, big goals, leadership. You can check all those boxes, and he's carried that over into the playoffs. He drags everybody into the fight. So for him, and another thing I love them, just kind of on the side, just hearing his interviews, right from the get-go, this is the place he wanted to be, how happy he was, how excited he was, and what's not to like. I mean, playing in Florida, you got a good team, chance to win. For him. So everything, kind of all the stars aligned for him towards the end of the season, especially the position they're in right now.
Ed, can you talk about Gustav Forsling, drafted by the Canucks? Canucks got rid of him real quick, and all of a sudden, he finds his niche in Florida. There's some nights he plays more than Ekblad. What do you like about him?
Just the way he skates. We all know in this league as defensemen, if you can get back and get the puck quick, and just advance that, make a good first pass, you're going to play in this league a long time. And, he's a guy that plays against top lines. He's well positioned. He's agile. He's got a bomb of a shot, and his offensive instincts are there. I think, grabbing this guy for what they got him for, everything kind of Bill Zito is kind of brought into the fold. Look at Brandon Montour, another example in that case, where just kind of taking his game to an elite level. But certainly, playing a lot of minutes for this team. And the guy, he's blocking shots. He doesn't miss time. He's a real durable type player for the way he plays.
Ed, have to ask you about what's happening in Arizona. You played there 5 years. Tempe voters shot down a vote for a new rink. They could be leaving. They could be staying. Your thoughts on what's happening with the Coyotes?
Well, I think we can all agree it's time to get out of there.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, you're going to play another season at Mullet Arena. It is what it is. I think coming up, obviously, with the vote, I don't know too much about it. Honestly, I don't read too much about it, but I know that they were denied. But I think there's obviously, I saw the clip this morning about Patrick Mahomes on his Twitter or whatever he posted. I would love to have them in Kansas City. I think there are a lot of viable options that will work. I think for players, listen, you want to play in an environment where you're welcomed, where you feel that, you're playing in front of fans. 5,000, here at Mullet Arena is a great spot, the noise and this and that. But a lot different playing in front of 18,000, 19,000 people on a nightly basis, versus that. So I hope all in all the league figured out. Gary Bettman's a smart guy. Daly's smart guy. I think they'll figure it out. And but let's face it, it's been years of it was happened when I was there. My checks were being signed by the league when I was there. So I think when you look at the whole situation there, they've tried, and it doesn't seem like it's working.
You played for Wayne Gretzky down there, didn't you, Ed? And
I did.
Yeah. What was that like?
That was cool. I mean, obviously playing against Wayne and then him kind of picking me to play in the Olympic team was pretty cool. And then just spending a couple of years with him in Arizona, his passion for the game was there. You can see the guy, he loved to win hockey games, and, just something that obviously didn't work out for him in the coaching side of things. But I see Wayne a lot down here in Florida. He's down here taking care of his grandkids, so I run into him here and there, play some golf, see him at the game. So he's doing well, enjoying doing some TNT work.
Hey, back to the Panthers and what's happening right now. I think one of the most surprising aspects of what's going on, Ed, is Sergei Bobrovsky. I'm not going to feel sorry for him given his contract, but it's been a bit of a tough go for him in Florida. Did you think he was capable of doing what he's doing right now?
Well, we've seen it before, right? He's won 2 Vezdas. He's carried the load in Columbus there, and we saw us do some spectacular things, for that organization. We see it in spurts throughout the year how great he really can be. But you look at kind of how this, kind of played out with Alex Lyon kind of running with it towards the end of the season and really kind of getting this team to obviously play in the playoffs. So you run with Alex Lyon early on. And now you get thrown into that pressure situation of Game 5. What about the save he made on Marchand, at the end of that game to really, it could have been good night. At that moment. But listen, he's I was just listening to Coach Breeze talk about he's got a routine, right? And any goalies that he was asked, do you have conversation with him? Listen, it's a high and bye, conversation when things are going really well. And I think that's just the mindset of goalies. He's in a zone right now. He's seeing the puck well. And you got to give credit to the guys in front of him. They're clearing away second and third opportunities. They're playing well in their own zone. They're not giving these grade A opportunities like we've seen throughout the year that, frankly, no goalie could really, give him a chance on those. So I think right now he's feeling it. And I got to believe if I'm a healthy scratch and I'm making 10 bananas a year, that something inside of me, I'm waiting for my opportunity to come back in. He's your number one goalie that you gave a boatload of money to, that he's watching, from the bench and not playing these playoff games. So him coming into that situation and taking care of game 5, 6, and 7, pretty special. And then kind of dismantling Toronto, really frustrating that group over there.
Just wrapping up with Ed Jovanovski. One more, Joel, if you don't mind. Do you think the Canucks, as we talk about one of your other former teams, do you think the Canucks are on the right track with Rick Tocchet?
I love Tuck. I had him also in Arizona, a good friend of mine. I think just his passion for the game. He's a no-nonsense guy, I'm sure, as you guys know. Doesn't take much. I think he expects, excellence from his group. There'll be learning curves, obviously, but you look at the core of that team, you got to keep that core together, and you got to build around these star players that they have. And I think that's kind of the direction of this franchise. But I think him at the helm is a good fit. Obviously, Footy back there, who's won in this league. They all have won, so they know what it takes to get the job done. And, I can't say any better things about Talk. I think he'll get these guys definitely competing. And then when you add the compete side to the talent that these guys have, you can do a lot of good things.
Thanks for what do you golf later today? What's going on? What's happening down there in Florida?
Buddy, listen, you know what? My phone. I'm doing another one of these at 1:30. So I think just talking cats right now. But I get my golf in here and there. I think my first couple years out of the league, I golfed myself out. So just kind of. At home, doing laundry, fixing beds, just kind of being that guy while the missus at work.
Yeah, fixing beds. What a life.
Yeah.
Thanks,
right.
Ed. People love you up here.
Yep.
Ed, thanks so much for doing this.
Vancouver. Look forward to seeing you guys one day.
You bet. Thanks, Jovo. Appreciate it. All the best.
All right, guys. Take care.
You bet.